Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shmar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Gurudev ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shmar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shmar Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashita Rashita Shmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashita Rashita Shmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitya Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Gaur Kishoras Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai. Nitya Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Rupa Navgorya Guru Varga ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jeev Gopal Padadas Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki Jai. Namachay Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandal, Gaura Mandal, Vraja Mandal, Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund ki Jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Das Thakur ki Jai. Śrī Caitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. Hari Bo, Champak Didi and Karuna Didi. Hari Bo to both of you. And I see there's one other person watching. So pranams to the three of you. Oh, and there's Kishore Krishna. Hari Bo, Kishore Prabhu. Pranams. So now what should we sing today? Let me just, okay, I'm sharing my screen and we can choose something. Oh, and just so everybody knows, I'm using my mobile data right now. So if the internet isn't good enough, just let me know. There isn't really much I can do about it, but let me know anyways. Yeah, for some reason the Wi-Fi isn't working down here. So I could do this reading in my room. I don't need to be doing it outside here, but whatever, I'm already here. All right, so for Sachinandan Gaur Hari, there is, oh wait, sorry, what were you saying, Kisha? Oh, that's myself talking. Let me close that.
I said Sake Kalaya Gauram.
Sake Kalaya Gauram Udaram. Okay, great. My video is going on in the background, and so my voice is speaking as well as yours. But yeah, great. Sake Kalaya Gauram Udaram. Let's do that. Perfect. Ah, thank God. It looks like he's done with kirtan. So now I can, once again, I'm just taking off I'm switching it to good quality sounds now. Perfect. Okay. Okay, there. Oh, my dear friends, just think about the magnanimous Śrī Gauranga, whose bodily luster rebukes the splendor of gold, and who smashes the pride of Cupid. His curly locks, which defeat the splendor of dark rain clouds, are adorned with malati flowers, surrounded by delighted honeybees. His tilak insults the beauty of the moon, and his attire enchants the whole world. His smile, sweet like honey, allures all embodied beings. His pastimes are filled with unparalleled sentiments of pure love, bhavs. His mind is captivated by the heroine of Nidhuvan, as he utters indecipherable words in a choked voice. It is his nature to distribute mercy to those souls who are utterly destitute, having no wealth other than Krishna and service to him, as well as those who hanker for material possessions. So those who are akinchan and those who are kinchan, those who are possessionless and those who hanker for material possessions, he distributes mercy to everybody. His incomparable pastimes have thrown this foolish person named Radha Mohan into confusion. How is it that he's giving mercy not just to the Parama Akinchana, but also to the Kinchana Naragana, to those who aren't even qualified? Okay. One second. I'm just gonna make this big. Asake kalaya goram daram asake kalaya goram udaram nindita hataka kanti kalevara anindita hataka kanti kalevara garvita maraka maram garvita Sake kalaya goramudaram Sake kalaya goram udaram madhukara ranjita malati mandita madhukara ranjita malati mandita jita ghana kunchita kesham jita ghana kunchita kesham tilaka venindita shashadhara rupaka tilaka venindita shashadhara rupaka bhuvana manohara Bhuvana manohara vesha tilaka venindita shashadhara rupaka bhuvana manohara vesha Bhuvana manohara vesham Sake kalaya Smita Lobhita Tanubrita Madhu Madhu Rasmita Lobhita Tanubrita Anupama Bhava Vilasa Hoy Anupama Bhava Vilasa Nidhuvanana Gari Mohita Manasa Nidhuvanana Gari Mohita Manasa Vikatita Gargata Pasha Vikatita Gargata Pasha Nidhuvanana Gari Mohita Manasa Vikatita Gargata Pasha Vikatita Gargata Pasha Sake Kalaya Gora Udara O Sake Kalaya Gora Mudara Parama Akinchana Kinchana Naragana Aparama Kinchana Kinchana Naragana Karuna Vitarana Shila Karuna Vitarana Shila Akshobhita Durmati Radha Mohana Akshobhita Durmati Radha Mohana Namaka Nirupama Lila Namaka Nirupama Lila Shobhita Durmati Radha Mohana Namaka Nirupama Lila Namaka Nirupama Lila Sake Kalaya Gora Mudara O Sake Kalaya Gora Mudara Nindita Hataka Kanti Kalevara Nindita Hataka Kanti Kalevara Garvita Mara Kamara Garvita Mara Kamara Nindita Hataka Kanti Kalevara Garvita Mara Kamara Garvita Mara Kamara Sake Kalaya Gora Mudaram Sake Kalaya Gora Mudaram Jaya Śacī-nandan Gora Hari Śacī-nandan Jaya Gora Hari Jaya Śacī-nandan Gora Hari Śacī-nandan Jaya Gora Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bo.
Hari Hari Bo.
Hari Bo. Alright, so we'll do the Mangala Charan and then recap of what we read previous 2 days. So I'm just sharing my screen again. Okay. Oh man, I have way too many windows open. Okay, where is it? My God. Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Ajnanatimirandasya Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tar Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ajanulambita bhujo kanakavadato sankirtanaikapitaro kamalaya-taksho vishwambaro dijavaro yugadharmapalo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro. Namastrikala Satyaya Jagannatha Sutaya Cha Sabhrityaya Saputraya Sakalatraya Te Namaha. Avatirno Sakarunyo Parichinno Sarishvaro Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Dvau Bhrataro Bhaje. Sajayati Vishuddha Vikrama Kanakaba Kamalaya Tekshana Varajanu Vilambi Sharbhujo Bahudha Bhakti Rasa Bhinartaka. Jayati Jayati Deva Krishna Chaitanya Chandro Jayati Jayati Kirtis Tasya Nitya Pavitra. Jayati Jayati Bhrityas Tasya Vishveshamurte. Jayati Jayati Nrityam Tasya Sarva Priyanam. Ādi Chaitanya Priya Pushtir Charane Ashisha Prakare Mor Danda Paraname. Tabe Vando Shri Krishna Chaitanya Maheshwar Navadvipe Avatar Nama Vishwambar. Pranam mantra for Shri Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra. Oops. Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannathaya Te Namaha. Govardhana Dharam Vande Gopalam Goparupinam Gokulotsavamishanam Govindam Gopika Priyam. Tavai vasmi na jivami tvaya vina iti vigyaya devi tvam nayamam charanantikam bhaktya vihina aparada lakshay shibdashtakamaditaranga madhe kripa mai tvam sharanam prapanna Vrinde namaste charanarvindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, everybody. Let's see all who else joined. Oops. Hari Bol, I think I already saw you, Rasay Shri Mataji, but Prajumna Prabhu and Mantra Murti Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. And I see there are 5 people, so 2 other people here. I wonder where Indira Mataji is. She'll probably be joining soon. Okay. So, Kishore Krishna Prabhu, would you like to do a recap? If not, I can just read this chapter summary here up to the point where we read. So, yeah.
You can read, because all I remember was Jagannath Mishra Prabhu telling Śacī Mata that I don't want. Oh, what before that? That there was Advaita Prabhu lamenting, and Jagannath Mishra lamenting about Vishwarup having taken sannyas and leaving. Then after that, it was Jagannath Mishra Prabhu who talking about how he doesn't want to send Nimāi to school, but I don't remember all the details.
Yes, okay, that's fine. I don't either, so that's why I'm reading from the chapter summary. Great. So, yeah, and that's where we left off. I think that's with what you just said now. So, we'll read up to that point in this summary here. Okay, so this chapter, and these chapter summaries are written by Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Gosai Maharaj for Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur during that time. So this chapter contains descriptions of Vishwarup's acceptance of sannyas and Gaur Hari's acceptance of the mood of Dattatreya and instructing his mother on the absolute truth while sitting on a pile of rejected clay pots. That's what we're going to be reading about today, when Gaur Hari accepts the mood of Dattatreya. Yeah. Shri Gaur Gopal expanded his various mischievous childhood pastimes. But Nimāi would give up his mischief as soon as he saw his elder brother Vishwarup. Before everybody else, even his own parents, he was just completely wild and obnoxious, but but around Vishwarup, he became very sober. So one person who was able to calm him, tame him. So Vishwarup was renounced since the time of his birth, and he was the abode of all good qualities. Whenever he explains the scriptures, he would establish devotional service as their only purport. He had no interest in anything other than serving Krishna with all of his senses. Although he knew his younger brother was Bal Gopal Krishna, he did not disclose this confidential fact to anyone. Vishwarup always remained intoxicated by discussing topics of Krishna and serving Krishna in the association of the Vaishnavas. Seeing the entire world was mad after material enjoyment, the seed of envy for Vishnu and the Vaishnavas was present in everyone's heart. And even the reciters of Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad Bhāgavatam were devoid of devotion to Krishna. The pure devotees headed by Advaita Acharya began to cry for the pathetic condition of the living entities. Sri Vishwarup even decided to give up worldly life and considered, "I will no longer see the faces of such people." Every day, after taking morning bath in the Ganges, Vishwarup would go to Advaita Acharya's house, where he would explain that devotional service to Krishna is the essence of all scriptures. Sent by Śacī-devī, the child Nimāi also went daily to the house of Advaita Acharya to bring his elder brother home for lunch. At that time, the devotees practically entered samadhi upon seeing the enchanting beauty of Gaur Hari, as it is natural for devotees to be attracted by seeing the form of the Lord. Taking advantage, but still they could not recognize that he was the Lord. Taking advantage of this incident, the author establishes the devotee's matchless love for the Supreme Lord by citing the conversation between Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj from the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. The spirit soul is the life of the living entity, and Sri Nandanandan is the super soul, or the life of the spirit soul. That is why the gopis accepted Krishna as their life and soul. Although Krishna is also the supersoul of demons like Kamsa, they cannot understand this due to their offenses. The sweetness of sugar candy is known to all. Although due to the fault of the tongue it may taste bitter to some, the sweetness of the candy is neither lost nor diminished. Those who are attracted to the supreme sweetness of Śrī Gaurasundar are most fortunate, while those who are not are simply unfortunate. Nevertheless, the sweetness of Śrī Gaurasundar is not diminished. Although Vishwarup came home on the order of Mother Śacī, he soon returned to the house of Advaita Acharya. Oh god, this rat is really annoying me. It's right next, making a lot of noise next to the drink. One second, I'm just gonna scare it. Okay. Whenever Vishwarup, although Vishwarup came home on the order of Mother Śacī, he soon returned to the house of Advaita Acharya. Whenever Vishwarup came home, he did not indulge in worldly behavior. Rather, he would pass his time sitting in the temple room. When Vishwarup heard that his parents were arranging for his marriage, he became most unhappy, and after a few days exhibited his pastime of taking sannyas. Thus he became renowned in the world as Śrī Shankararanya. The hearts of Śacī and Jagannath, who were in the transcendental mood of Vatsalya Ras, were greatly pained when Vishwarup took sannyas. And Gaurasundar, feeling separation for his brother, in other words, separation for his pure servant, displayed his pastime of losing consciousness. Due to separation from Vishwarup, the devotees headed by Advaita Acharya all began to cry, and also Vishwambar began to cry. He began to cry and lost consciousness. That's how much he... All the friends of Śacī and Jagannath came to solace them in various ways. Hearing about Vishwarup's acceptance of sannyas, the devotees all wanted to go live in the forest. Advaita Prabhu consoled everyone by saying, Krishna Chandra will soon manifest before us and mitigate all our distress. He will perform pastimes that are rare for even Shukadev and Prahlad. After becoming pacified, Nimāi began to study attentively, and he always remained with his parents to give them solace. Although Mother Śacī was happy to hear about her son's wonderful intelligence and knowledge, Jagannath Mishra was in anxiety because he thought, due to his intense study, this son will also realize that this world is temporary and devotional service to Krishna is the essence of life. Then he will follow in the footsteps of his elder brother too. Then he will follow in the footsteps of his elder brother. After a long debate with Śacī, Jagannath Mishra stopped Nimāi's studies. Thereafter, Nimāi again began to exhibit mischievous pastimes. So that's where we read up to yesterday. But I just realized we didn't sing the glories of Caitanya-bhāgavata and Vrindavan Das Thakur. Haribol, Indira Mataji. I was wondering where you were. Okay, so
I remember when Advaita Prabhu would talk about that the Lord will come. Nimāi randomly appeared here there amongst the devotees, and they all looked at him as like, Bap, why are you here? And Nimāi said, well, why did you call me?
Oh, yes, I remember that too. Yes, that wasn't in the summary there, yeah. I wish I had a good memory like you. Alright, so now we are going to read the glories of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata and Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur from Śrī Chaitanya-charitamrita Ādi-lila, chapter 8, verses 33 to 42. Yeah, my computer is starting to run out of juice. I might have to move once it gets too low. Ore mura loko shuno Chaitanya mangal, Chaitanya mahima jate jani beshakal. Krishna lila bhagavate kohe ved vyas, Chaitanya Leelar Vyas Vrindavana Das Vrindavana Das Koilo Chaitanya Mangal Jahara Shavane Nashe Sarvaya Mangal Chaitanya Nitar Jate Janiye Mahima Jate Jane Krishna Bhakti Siddhanter Sima Bhagavate ko Bhagavate Jata Bhakti Siddhanter Sar Lekhiyachen Iha Jani Koriya Udar Chaitanya Mangala Shune Jadi Pashandi Javan Sheho Mahavaishnava Hoy Tatakon Manushera Chite Nare Aiche Granta Dhanya Vrindavana Dasa Mukhe Vakta Shri Caitanya Vrindavana Dasa Pode Koti Namaskar Aiche Granta Korite Ho Tarila Sangsar Narayani Chaitanyer Uchishta Bhajan Tar Garbe Janmila Shri Dasa Vrindavan Tar ki Arbhuta Chaitanya Charita Varnan Jahara Shravane Shuddha Koilo Tribhuvan Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 4-5 Sahaje Vichitra Madhur Chaitanya Vihar Vrindavana Dasa Mukhe Amrite Dhar. By nature, all the activities of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu are very wonderful and sweet, and when they are described by Vrindavan Das Thakur, they become like a shower of nectar. And Hari Bol, Pradyumna Prabhu, and Mantra Murti Mataji. Pranams. Okay. So now we are at, what is it? Verse 152, I think. Yes. Let's see the previous couple verses. So after this whole debate with Śacī Mata, I think Jagannath Mishra eventually, he was the one who, yeah, so saying this, okay, so this is a very long section of this part where he was trying to convince Śacī Mata. He said, anyways, therefore, I say that he does not need to study further. Let him stay at home, uneducated. Saying this, Jagannath Mishra called his son and told him, listen, my dear son, from today on, I want you to give up your studies. I forbid you to continue. My dear son, I'll give you whatever you desire. Stay comfortably at home. Saying this, Jagannath Mishra went to attend his duties, and Lord Vishwambar refrained from further studies. The personification of eternal religious principles, Sri Gauranga Rai followed his father's instructions and gave up his studies. The Lord was disappointed to give up his scholastic pursuits, so he again began his childhood mischief. Antare Dukkita Prabhu Vidya Rasa Bhange, Puna Prabhu Udatta Hoila Shishur Sange. Okay, so we're starting now. Verse 152. I'm with this restream thing, with the previous program and this program, it didn't show anybody on YouTube. Sorry, on Facebook. I wonder if it went live there. I'm just gonna quickly check if it's live on Facebook. Okay, looks like it's live. There's just nobody watching there. That's fine. Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure it's working. Okay. Kiva nija ghare prabhu, kiva para ghare, jaha pai taha bhange, apachaya kore. Whether in his own house or in another's house, the Lord would break and ruin whatever he got his hands on. He was angry that he was taken out of school, so he's going to cause trouble now. Nisha hoile prabhu na aise, Nisha hoile prabhu na aise ghare, sarva ratri shishu sange nana krida kore. He would not even return home at night. Rather, he would continue playing all night with the other boys. Oh, Maharaj, Dandavat Pranams. Oh, Sajjan Maharaj is here with us.
Jai Ho Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata ki jai.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Dandavat Pranams.
Hare Krishna. Sorry to interrupt.
No problem. That's a very pleasant interruption. Okay, so he would not even return home at night. Rather, he would continue playing all night with the other boys. Kambale dhakiya anga dui shishu meli, vrisha pray hoya chalen kutuhali. The Lord and another boy covered themselves with a blanket and played as a bull. Jar bari kolabana dekhi thake dine, ratri hoile vrisha rupe bhangaye apane. If they saw banana trees at someone's house during the day, at night, the Lord and his friend, disguised as a bull, would destroy them. I love the fact that they would try to dress up as a bull and then go destroy the banana trees. They wouldn't just go. They had to have a disguise. Goru gyane grihasta koroi hai hai, jagile grihasta shishu sanghati polai. Thinking that a bull was destroying his bananas, the house owner cried out in lamentation, "Hi, hi, alas, alas." As he came out from his house, the boys ran away. Karo ghare dwara diya bandaye bahire, lagvi gurvi grihasta korite nahi pare. The Lord would lock the door of someone's house from outside, and the householder would be unable to come out for passing urine or stool. Oh my God. Gaudiya Bhashya, you heard that? The phrase Dwara Diya Bandhaye Bahire indicates that the doors could be locked from outside. The word lagvi means to pass urine, and gurvi means to pass stool. That's like really bad. Yeah, because it's not traditional for bathrooms to be inside the house. Usually bathrooms are always outside, separate thing, in like traditional houses. It's because it's considered contaminated. You don't want something contaminated in your house. So I wonder what they would have to do when they have to use the toilet, but they can't go outside of their house. Don't think about it too much, actually. Okay. Ke bandilo duar koroi hai hai, jagile grihasta prabhu utiya palai. When the householder cried out, "Who has locked my door?" the Lord ran away. E mata dina ratri tridashe rai, shishugan shange krida koren sarvadai. In this way, Tridasha Rai played continually, day and night, with his friends. Jatika chapalya kore Prabhu Vishwambar, tatapiyo mishra kichu na kore uttar. In spite of all of Vishwambar's mischievous activities, Jagannath Mishra did not say a thing. Ekadin Mishra choli len karyantar, porite na pai Prabhu krodhita antar. One day, after Jagannath Mishra went for his duties, the Lord became very angry because he was not allowed to study. Something interesting, Jagannath Mishra was very strict with Vishwambar before. like we saw so many instances of Jagannath Mishra being strict. But I guess after Vishwarup's disappearance, Jagannath Mishra was so just completely devastated that he stopped disciplining Vishwambar. So the Lord became very angry because he wasn't allowed to study. Vishnu Naivedyer Joto Varja Handi Gon Hoshilen Prabhu Handi Koriya Asan. He then sat down on the old rejected pots that had been used for preparing offerings for Lord Vishnu. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word Varjya means rejected or abandoned. The word handi is a corruption of the Sanskrit word handi. Handi, which is a pot for cooking rice. E boro nigura katha shuno ekamane Krishna bhakti siddhi hoy ihar shravane. This topic is most confidential. Whoever hears it will attain devotional service to Lord Krishna. Once again, just checking the comments really quickly. Okay. Varjahari Ganashab Kori Singhasan Tati Boshi Hase Gor Sundara Vadan. Using those rejected pots as a singhasan, Lord Gaurasundar smiled as he sat there. Lagilo harir kali sarva gor ange kanaka putali jeno lepi ache gandhe. The black soot from those pots decorated Gaur's limbs, and he appeared like a golden doll smeared with sandalwood pulp mixed with aguru. Gaudiya Bhashya. The golden body of Nimāi, smeared with the black soot from the clay of the cooking pots, looked like someone who had smashed black aguru and sandalwood paste on the limbs of a golden doll. Shishugan janailo giya Śacī-devī Nimāi bosiya ache harir asane. His friends went and informed Mother Śacī, Nimāi is sitting on the rejected pots. Maye asi dekhiya koren hai e sthane te bap bosi bare na jujai. When Mother Śacī went there and saw Nimāi in that condition, she lamented and said, My dear son, this is not a proper place to sit. Varjahari iha sab parashile snan eto din tomar e na janmile gyan. These are rejected pots, and if one touches them, he must take bath. Haven't you understood this by now? Gaudiya Bhashya by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. The word parashile means if one touches, and the word gyan refers to the conception of clean and dirty, or purity and impurity. Prabhu bole tora mor nadis porite bhadra bhadra murka vipre janibe kemote. He's speaking in the tui sense, like the tui, which is the. I wonder if like tui, you either speak in tui, like it's very intimate. You use it for like your lover, or a grandfather will say it for his child, like for his grandchild or something, or you'll say it if you're really angry at somebody, like somebody's beneath you. But maybe I don't know which way he's using this, but yeah. Tora more nadis porite bhadra bhadra murka vipra jani vekemote. The Lord replied, You don't allow me to study, so how will I know the difference between good or bad, or a fool and a Brahman? Gaudiya Bhashya. The word bhadra bhadra means pure and impure. Murka ami na janiye bhalo mandasthan sarvatra amar eka advitiya gyan. I am a fool, So I do not know which place is good and which is bad. Therefore, I consider all places equal. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word Advitiya Gyan refers to perception of the equality of all places. Ato boli hase varja harir asane Dattatreya bhav prabhu hoila takhone. After saying this, the Lord smiled from his seat on the rejected pots and accepted the mood of Dattatreya, the topmost knower of the absolute truth. Gaudiya Bhashya. For a description of Dattatreya, one may consult the Lagu Bhagavatamrita, Purva 1:45-48. Okay, I'm gonna make this computer goes. But we're gonna have to wait for this probably. But so one should consult the Lagu Bhagavatamrita, Purva 45-48, wherein the following verses are quoted from Śrīmad Bhagavatam 274. What's the meat of it? Atrer apatyam abhikaṅśata ahatushto tato mayahamiti yad bhagavan sadatta yad pada pankaja paraga pavitra deha yogardhima purubhayem yaduhai hayadya. The great sage Atri prayed for offspring, and the Lord, being satisfied with him, promised to incarnate as Atri's son, Dattatreya. Datta, the son of Atri. Oh, Atreya means son of Atri, so Dattatreya. That's neat, I never realized that. And by the grace of the lotus feet of the Lord, many yadus, hayhayas, etc. became so purified that they obtained both material and spiritual blessings. From Śrīmad Bhagavatam 1:3-11, and now we have to wait for this to finish. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. Thank God. So that's from Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Okay, now from Śrīmad Bhagavatam 1:3-11 we read, Shashtam ater apatyatvam vritta prapto nusuyaya anvikshikim alarkaya praladadibhya uchivan. The sixth incarnation of the Purusha was the son of the sage of Atri. He was born from the womb of Anusuya, who prayed for an incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Alarka, Prahlad, and others, Yadu, Hai, etc. Shri Brahmande tukatitam Atri patnyanasuyaya prartito bhagavan atrer apatyatvam upeyivan. It is mentioned in the Brahmanda Puran that when Anusuya, the wife of the sage Atri, prayed to Lord Vishnu, the Lord agreed to become the son of Atri. Varam dattvanasuyayai Vishnu sarva jaganmaya Atre putro bhavatasyam svecha manusha vigraha Dattatreya iti khyato yativesha vibhushita. He who accepts a human form by his own sweet will, and who is the cause of all universes, that Supreme Lord Vishnu gave Anusuya a benediction, and thus appeared in her womb as a son of Atri. He became famous as Dattatreya, and he was dressed as a sannyasi. Sri Baladev Vijayabhushan has written his commentary on these verses from Lagu Bhagavatamrita. Atri's prayer to have a good son as the Lord is one of the topics of the 4th canto, and Anusuya's prayer to have the Lord as her son is found in the 1st canto. The statement of the Brahmanda Puran supports the later verse. I see my battery is at 18%. I think it's time for me to go to my room. So 1 second, I just need to put the mridanga away. And then, because right now I'm just... 1 second. Oops. Yeah, I'm gonna run out of battery soon. Oh my god. That's it. Just drop something. Alright. Just thanks for being patient with me. Hopefully the connection stays good in my room. I'm staying in Anita's room right now. All right, I'm all plugged in. Okay, am I still connected? It looks like I am. Thank God. Okay. Now, let me share my screen again. Okay, so Maye bole tumi je bosila mandastane, ebe tumi pavitra pa hoiba kemone. Mother Śacī inquired, "You have sat in an impure place, so how will you purify yourself?" Prabhu bole mata tumi boro shishumati, apavitra stane kabu mor nahe stiti. The Lord replied, "My dear mother, you are very childish. I am never in an impure place." That's quite disrespectful to talk to your mother like that. Say that she has the shishumati. One second, I'm plugging in my phone as well because that might run out of battery. I just got shocked. One second. Where is my phone? There it is. Okay. Okay. Prabhu bole. Okay. So the Lord replied, "My dear mother, you are very childish. I am never in an impure place." Gaudiya Bhashya. It is stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 4:176. Dvaita. Oh, shoot. Dvaita bhadra bhadra gyan sava manu dharma e bhalo e manda e sava brahma. In the material world, something about mental speculations. Therefore, people say that this is good and this is bad. But this is all a mistake. We'll go back when this is finished loading. And in Śrīmad-bhāgavatam 11:28-4, it is said, "Kim bhadram kim abhadram va dvaitasya vastuna kiyat vachoditam anrityam manasadhyatamevacha. Anything not conceived in relationship to Krishna should be understood to be illusion, Maya. None of the illusions uttered by the words or conceived in the mind are factual. Because illusion is not factual, there is no distinction between what we think is good and what we think is bad. When we speak of absolute truth, such... Okay, now we have to wait for it to finish loading. Oh man, you guys are so patient with all these problems that have been going on. Okay. Let's just see the previous verse again that I wasn't able to read. In this material world, conceptions of good or bad are all mental speculations. Therefore, saying this is good and this is bad is all a mistake. And Srimad Bhagavatam, we read this verse, anything not conceived of in relationship to Krishna should be understood to be illusion, Maya. None of the illusions uttered by the words or conceived in the mind are factual. Because illusion is not factual, there is no distinction between what we think is good and what we think is bad. When we speak of the absolute truth, such speculations do not apply. The considerations of purity and impurity accepted by attached householders who follow the doctrine of non-devotional materialistic smartas are not accepted by the Vaishnava Smritis. According to Vaishnava Smritis, the service and ingredients of service offered for the pleasure of the Lord can never be considered unpalatable, perverted, or impure. This pure consideration found in the Vaishnava Smritis and propounded by Sri Gaurasundar has created havoc in the material rules and regulations of the smartas, who are maddened by mundane sensual knowledge. In the Padma Purana, it is stated, Naivedyam jagadishasya annapanadikam chayat brahmavan nirvikaram hi yata vishnus tataiva tat. Those foodstuffs and beverages that are offered to Krishna are transcendental, incorruptible, and non-different from Vishnu. Foodstuffs that are offered to Vishnu are called Naivedya. Abominable items can never be Vishnu Naivedya. According to Vaishnava Smriti, a Vaishnava should never discriminate between mundane purity and impurity. Rather, he should see everything in relation to Vishnu. Pure Vaishnavas are naturally inclined towards the spiritual principles of liberated personalities and do not have ordinary mundane vision. The following statements of the scriptures may be discussed in this regard. Surarshe vihita shastre harim uddishya ya kriya saiva bhaktir iti prokta yaya bhakti para bhavit. My dear Narad, O sage among the demigods, those activities prescribed in the revealed scriptures for satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Hari, are called the regulative principles of bhakti, sadhan bhakti, by practicing which one may attain the highest bhakti, prem. Lokiki vaidiki vapi ya kriya kriyate mune hari sevanukulaiva sakarya bhaktimichata. One should perform only those activities, either worldly or prescribed by Vedic rules and regulations, which are favorable for the cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Iha yasya harirdasye karmana manasa gira nekila svapavastasu jivan mukta sa uchyate. A person who acts in the service of Krishna with his body, mind, intelligence, and words is a liberated person, even within the material world. The consideration of purity and impurity found in Vaishnava literature is different from that of the Smartas. A person's purity and superiority depends on his inclination towards the service of the Supreme Absolute Truth after giving up material considerations. This is the purport for verses 173 to 179. Okay. Now verse 174. jatha mor sthiti she sarva punyasthan, Ganga adi sarva tirtha tahi adhishtan. Wherever I am, that place becomes most sacred. The Ganga and all other tirthas are present at that place. Amar she kalpanika shuchi va ashuchi, srashtara ki dosh ache mane bhavo bhuji. Purity and impurity is only our mental creation. Please consider, what fault is there with the Creator? Gaudiya Bhashya. The word Amar refers to a conditioned soul who has no conception of Advai Gyan, or spiritual oneness. The word Srashtar refers to the Lord who is the creator of the universe. Lokaveda mate jadi ashuddha bahoy, ami parashileyo ki ashuddhataroy. Even if something is considered impure by the Vedas and people in general, can it remain impure after I touch it? Gaudiya Bhashya. The phrase Loka Vedamate refers to worldly behavior in accordance with Vedic karma kanda. The word Ami refers to the Lord, who is completely faultless and the reservoir of all good qualities. Esha bharite mole nahi ko dushan, tumi jate Vishnu lagi korila randan. Should be a long A, lagi. In fact, these pots are not at all contaminated, because you have used them to cook for Lord Vishnu. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word mule means naturally or factually. The word dushan means false, abomination, or impurity. And the word jate means because. Vishnur randanastali kabu dushtanoi, she hari para she ar stana shuddha hoy. The pots used in cooking for Lord Vishnu are never contaminated. Indeed, simply by the touch of his cooking pots, other places become purified. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word stali refers to the cooking pots. The smartas are greatly concerned with purity and contamination in relation to their eating. According to the Vaishnava Smritis, any item becomes pure and acceptable by the touch of the Lord's devotee, Śrīmad-bhāgavatam, the Lord's remnants, or the Lord's charnamrita. The consideration is beyond the perceptions of purity and impurity born from the mundane vision of the smartas. Eteke amar vas nahi mandasthane, sabar shuddhata mor parasha karane. Therefore, I never reside in a contaminated place. Everything becomes pure by my touch. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word manda means material, worldly, or abominable. Balya bhavit sarva tattva kohi prabhu hase, tatapi na bhuje keho tana maya boshe. The Lord, in the mood of an ordinary child, smiled as he spoke on the absolute truth. Still, no one recognized him due to the influence of his illusory energy. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word sarvatattva refers to the science of spiritual oneness. Sabe hasen shuni shishur vachan, snana asi koro Śacī bolen tokon. Everyone began to laugh after hearing the child speak. Then Mother Śacī said, "Come and take bath." 182. Na aisen prabhu she kane bosiache, Śacī bole jhata ai bap jane pache. The Lord, however, did not move from his seat, so Śacī again said, "Come quickly, before your father learns about this." 183. Prabhu bole jadi more na deho porite, tabe moi nahi jaya kohilu tomate. The Lord replied, I tell you, if you do not allow me to study, then I will not leave this place. Sabe Bartsen Thakurer Jananer. Sabe bole kene nahi deho poribare. Hey, it doesn't rhyme. Everyone present then admonished the Lord's mother. They said, why don't you allow him to study? It's all Jagannath Mishra's fault. Jatna kori keho neja balaka porai, koto bhage apane porite shishu chai. Some people take great efforts to get their child to study. It is most auspicious if a child wants to study. Kon shatru heno buddhi dilo ba tomare, ghore murka kori putra rakhi bar tore. Which enemy has given you the idea to keep your son at home, uneducated? 187. Ihate shishur dosh, tilar dekanai, sabe bolen bap aiso Nimāi. This child has no fault at all. Then they said to Nimāi, come, Nimāi. Bap, come, O child, come, Nimāi. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word tilar deka means even a speck, or even a little. 188. Aji hoite tumi jodi na pao porite, tobe apachoy tumi koro bhalo mate. If you are not allowed to return to your studies from today, then you can continue your destruction. Na aise prabhu she khane boshi hase, sukriti shakal sukha sindhu majhe bhase. Still the Lord did not leave his seat. He continued sitting there, smiling as the pious people there floated in an ocean of bliss. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word Sukriti Shakal refers to those fortunate persons who desire to please Lord Vishnu. Apane doriya shishu anila janani, hase gora chandra jeno indra nila mani. Then Mother Śacī personally pulled him off the seat, and Lord Gaurachandra smiled like a shining blue sapphire. Indra Nilamani. I once looked up to find out what the most valuable jewel is, and it said the blue sapphire. Wikipedia said the blue sapphire. Indra Nilamani. The phrase Jeno Indra Nilamani indicates that the golden body of Nimāi was smeared with soot from the impure rejected cooking pots. Therefore, he looked like a brightly shining blue sapphire. Or he looked exactly like Sri Nanda Gopal. Otherwise, according to Sridhar Swami's commentary on the word Akrishnam found in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 11.532, it says, Krishna Varnam Tvishal Krishnam. Krishna's incarnation for Kali Yuga looked as bright as a blue sapphire. Tattva kohilen Prabhu Dattatreya bhave, na bhujilo keho Vishnu mayar prabhave. The Lord spoke the absolute truth in the mood of Dattatreya, yet no one could recognize him due to the influence of his illusory energy. Snana koraila loya Śacī punyavati, heno kale ailen Mishra Mahamati. The pious Śacī then took Nimāi to the Ganga, and they both took bath. At that time, the magnanimous Jagannath Mishra arrived there. 193. Mishra stane Śacī sab, kohilen kata, porite na pai putra mane bhave vyata. Śacī explained to him what had taken place. She then said, our son is morose because he is not allowed to study. 194. Sabe bolen Mishra tumi to udar, Kar kotai putre nahi deho porivar. The others there said, "O Mishra, you are broad-minded. Who has inspired you to stop his studies?" Gaudiya Bhashya. The word bole means speaking or statement. Jai koribe Krishna Chandra, she satya hoye, chinta pori hari deho porite nirbhoye. Whatever Krishna desires will certainly take place. Therefore, give up your anxiety and fearlessly allow him to study. Bhagya she balaka chahe, apane porite, bhalo dine jagya sutra deho bhalo mate. You are fortunate that your son wants to study. You should arrange to give him a Brahman thread on an auspicious day. You should arrange for it to give him a Brahman thread on an auspicious day. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word Yagya Sutra refers to 3 rings of thread that one receives at the sacred thread ceremony. One must accept the sacred thread to mark the beginning of one's study of the scriptures. The once-born Shudras are not qualified to study the scriptures. Only the twice-born Brahmins are qualified to accept the sacred thread, teach others how to worship, give in charity, and study the scriptures. Apart from these activities, Brahmins are also qualified to worship, teach, and accept charity. Without accepting the sacred thread, a Brahmin is not qualified to perform sacrifices. It is said, Upa Veda Samipe Tvam Neshe, I will bring you near the Vedas, or I will teach you the Vedas. The Acharya awards a person the sacred thread for this purpose, to give him the qualification for studying the Vedas. Mishra bole tomra parama bandhugan, tomra je bole she amar bachan. Śrī Mishra replied, "All of you are my well-wishers. Therefore, whatever you say, I must accept." Okay, verse 198. Alokika dekhiya shishur sarva karma, vismay bhaven keho nahi jane marma. Seeing the child's uncommon activities, everyone was struck with wonder, yet no one could understand him. Madhye madhye kono jan ati bhagyavane, purve kahi rakhiyache jagannath sthane. Some most fortunate person had previously given Jagannath Mishra a prediction. Prakrita balaka kabu e balaka nahe, jatna kori e balake raki ho hridaye. This boy is not ordinary. Please carefully keep this child in the core of your heart. Niravadi gupta bhave prabhu keli kore, Vaikunta nayaka nija angane vihare. Thus, the Lord of Vaikunta constantly enjoyed his confidential pastimes in the courtyard of his house. Porite aila Prabhu paper adeshe, hoilen Mahaprabhu ananda visheshe. By the order of his father, the Supreme Lord then joyfully resumed his studies. 203. Śrī Krishna Caitanya Nityananda Chanda Jan, Vrindavana Dasa Tachu Pada Juge Gan. Accepting Śrī Caitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul, I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. Thus ends the English translation of the Gaudiya Bhashya of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata, Chapter 7, entitled Śrī Vishwarup Takes Sannyas. Alright, so tomorrow we will read Chapter 8, The Disappearance of Jagannath Mishra. Oh, a heavy chapter. Alright. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Sorry, I fell asleep for a second. It's great that I just started falling asleep at the very end though, not in the beginning. Yeah, I had a late night last night moving boxes of books to the other place, so that's why. But I think, no, there's one more shipment to Delhi and then we'll be complete. Then we'll be finished. Okay. Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai. Jai Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Srila Param Gurudev ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Patadas Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki Jai. Namachay Srila Hari Das Thakur ki Jai. Prem se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Rajamandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Bharata Giri Raj Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Radha Kund Shamakund ki Jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki Jai. Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Das Thakur ki Jai. Śrī Caitanya-charitamrita ki Jai. Shri Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari
Hari
Bol.
Hari Bol.
Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranam. Sorry, that was a bit of a weird Mangala Jaidvani. I started doing a short Jaidvani and then I ended up doing a longer one. Anyways. Yeah. Alright, so do you have anything, Kishore Prabhu, that you want to discuss? Or
I was reminded when the Lord was when Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur was discussing pure and impure things, I was reminded of in a class of Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj that he said that in one verse it's saying that, "O Brahmins, you should know that Mahaprasadam is always pure, and one who does not accept this will go to hell." And Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj said, obviously this verse is trying to scare people, but it's to encourage you to develop faith in Mahaprasadam.
okay, that's nice that you gave that clarification. Yes.
Yeah, Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj then went on to say, also it has been said that if one eats anything before it has been offered to the Shaligram Shila, you'll have to take birth as a worm for 10 kalpas.
I guess I better offer these. Oh my god. That's really intense.
I don't know if it was 10 kalpas or 1 kalpa, but that's still a long time.
Yeah. I don't want to be born. That's a really long time. Yeah, it's not worth the convenience of just breaking something open and eating it, huh? That's so funny. Yeah, I remember in Jagannath Puri, there's his name is Bodayan Maharaj. Well, his name is Vangsi Vadan Prabhu, and he recently took sannyas. And he said
Bhaktivedanta.
Yes. Yeah, his name is Vangsi Vadan Prabhu.
Oh yeah, he gives Oriya Katha, right?
Yes.
He has a YouTube channel.
Yes, it's very popular. Yeah, and he was very popular in Orissa. Like, he's famous in Orissa. Everybody knows him. He had a prime time show on Prarthana, which is the biggest devotional channel in all of Orissa. And he would just, it was really cool. So anyways, I remember him saying some verse that was saying something like what Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj was saying. I'll have to ask him about that. there's some verse that, oh God, I forgot what it says exactly, but it said that the purpose of these verses is like of these like really intense verses in Shastra is to push you to follow these instructions, but it's not always like exactly literal. But I can't remember exactly what the verse said, but yeah, because sometimes that's really intense. Oh my God. Wait, did you say 7 kalpas as a worm?
10 kalpas.
For 10 kalpas.
At
Yeah.
least I remember it being 10 kalpas. You can look it up. It's Bhakti Pur Maharaj Art of Sadhana Part 2. It's a
I mean, I
class.
just ate something unoffered the other day. Like I started eating a fruit and I was like, oh my God, I didn't offer it. Oops. I was like, oh well. And then I just finished eating it.
Well, sometimes sometimes you can take the easy way out and say, well, it's passing the road where Śacī-devī is, so it's being offered.
Ah, yes.
Or you could say that, oh, well, it's Vrindavan and everything is Prasad, it's Radharani's Prasad in Vrindavan.
Ah, thank God. I didn't feel like taking birth in for 10 kalpas as a worm.
Like the thing is that it inspires laziness though. Oh, and then you start
Yes.
losing your
The thing is,
okay.
Vrindavan is not as merciful as Navadvip. Vrindavan like takes offense. You have to have your act together in Vrindavan. Navadvip's a place where you can be really chill and relax, and that's why I live in Navadvip.
That's what.
But yeah,
I
Vrindavan's
remember
really
I
intense.
remember there was one Vaishnav who said, I can't remember who said this right now. One Vaishnavacharya maybe. He said that it's not that Krishna is not merciful in Vrindavan. He is extremely merciful. It's that Krishna is just.
Hmm.
That
Interesting.
not that Krishna is not merciful. It's just that Krishna is just. As if you're not doing something properly, Krishna is going to punish you. If you do something good, Krishna will take care of you. But in Navadvip, there is no consideration of that.
Yeah, what is it like? Krishna is like ye yatamam prapadyante tang sataiva pujamiham. As that much you like come to me, that much I'll come to you, or whatever. Like I'll reciprocate
Yeah.
accordingly. But
Yeah.
with Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, especially Nityananda Prabhu, it's not like that, right? We read from Srila Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. Even if you don't want it, Nityananda will like force you to take it.
Jai
Jai Nitai.
Like,
Yes.
what did you think you can get? What did you think you can beat me and then I wouldn't give you prem? Certainly I will give you prem.
Yes.
That is Nitai's mood.
Yes.
Nitai walking into places being like Chen Hari,
Yes.
walking into liquor bars, walking into prostitute houses like Chen Hari Bol, Chen Hari Bol.
Yes. That's why I live in Navadvip. I don't have much willpower on my own, but I need to be in the most merciful place because
I know deep down. I was also remembering that Charnamrita was mentioned there in the purport by Srila Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur. And I remember hearing this class of this one sannyasi that said that before I was doing this, so if someone is doing this now, you should not feel so bad. But before I read this, but then I read something on Shastra that when you take Charnamrita, you should not wash your hand. That it's actually considered offensive, because you're taking the Charnamrita, which just washed the lotus feet of the Lord, the Supreme Lord Śrī Krishna, that Charnamrita, which destroys all sins, and which is completely pure, which is the water that washed the feet of the Supreme Lord Śrī Krishna. You're going to take it, and then you're going to wash your hand with some tap water because you think that's cleaner.
I remember there's being one thing there's one sannyasi in Krishna Chaitanya mission, Srila Bhakti Vaibhava Puri Goswami Maharaj's mutt.
Yeah.
His name is Avadut Maharaj, and he is the strictest person I've ever met in my life. He is super, super, super strict. Yeah. And so he's always, and he really likes our mat in Puri, so he would come and stay with us a lot, actually. Like, even though his mat is there and he lives there,
Mm-hmm.
near Gundicha Mandir, but he would
Right.
just come and stay with us for a few days at a time just because he wanted to. Um, and so I remember with Charnamrita, he said not to wash our hands in the sink, like after we take Charnamrita, not to wash our hands in the sink, but to go outside and wash it like on the bushes or something like that, because you don't want
Uh-huh.
the Charnamrita to go in a,
Uh-huh.
down the drain in a contaminated place. And so, yeah, I remember taking
Yeah.
Charnamrita and I was like, and I had to like do this whole awkward thing just to,
You know that
make him happy.
the sannyasi I just mentioned is also from Śrī Krishna Chaitanya Mission.
Ah, okay. So yeah, they have a high standard there.
Yeah. Then he was told, and then after taking Charnamrita, you put it on your head. Like if someone is engaged in deity worship or cooking, okay, you can wash your hands. Like if you do it one time, it's not that much of an issue.
Well, because you can't touch, even if your hand becomes
Uh-huh.
prasadi.
Uh-huh.
Like if you touch prasad and your hand's prasadi, you can't touch anything else because you'll make that other thing prasadi. And
Uh-huh.
it's disrespectful to put prasadi things in contaminated places. And so you like they're very like, especially in the mott, they're very strict about
Uh-huh.
that rule, like, things
Yeah.
not becoming prasadi like that. But with Jagannath Prasad, there are
Um,
many special rules that don't apply to other. Like with Jagannath Mahaprasad, you're not supposed to sit on an asan when you take Jagannath Mahaprasad. You should sit on the bare floor.
really?
And yes, and you're not supposed to after you take Jagannath Mahaprasad, you're not supposed to rinse out your mouth and spit out, because then you're going to be spitting out the
Mm-hmm.
Jagannath Mahaprasad.
Uh-huh.
So like you can like wash your mouth and then like swallow it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
There's like all these like really heavy duty rules, and also Jagannath Mahaprasad is never considered um, like somebody's remnants,
Uh-huh.
and so anybody who's eating Jagannath Mahaprasad, you can eat off their plate. You can give, if somebody goes, like you're eating Jagannath Mahaprasad and somebody takes your, like, off your plate, you don't stop them, because it's Jagannath Mahaprasad is never like considered your remnants or like contaminated or anything like that. Like there's that verse, right? Isn't there some verse that even if Jagannath Mahaprasad falls from the mouth of a dog, it's still considered pure, like that? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, Jagannath Mahaprasad, it has like a whole special category of like awe and reverence. Like we have to
Mm-hmm.
respect this even more than other kinds of prasad.
Yeah, I remember Bhakti Puri Maharaj, she also said that prasadam is never impure. Even Prabhupada took a prasadam that was touched by a dog.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. It's like
That's
and
mm,
and I wonder for a while, like, what is that pastime of Prabhupada's when he talked about taking prasad from a dog? And it was once Atulananda Brahmachari, Bhakti Sharanga Goswami Maharaj. He
mhm.
came back from preaching one day or collecting, and there was no prasadam, and he became very angry with the bandari, with the storekeeper, who was supposed to keep his prasad. And Prabhupada came out of the room and said, Tulananda. And Goswami Maharaj got a bit fearful. Oh, Prabhupada, I just woke up Prabhupada. Like Prabhupada came out and said, come here, Tulananda. And they walked out. And there were some dogs eating prasadam, and Prabhupada chased them away. Hey, I think it was a stick. And then he got the prasadam that the dogs were eating. It's like, here, Atulananda, this is prasadam. And Prabhupada had ate some in front of him.
Wow. I've never heard that story before. Where did he hear that from? That's really very interesting.
Badayan Maharaj.
Wow.
Bhakti Puri Maharaj mentioned it in passing, but the actual pastime I saw in a video of Badayan Maharaj explaining it.
Wow. Amazing. Jai Mahaprasad ki jai.
Yeah, I remember I
That-
told it. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, just quick thing. Just with something I always appreciated in, like, when I was living in Puri, whenever they'd bring the Jagannath Mahaprasad, like the pots of Jagannath Mahaprasad to our temple,
Mhm.
everybody would offer obeisances to the Mahaprasad. And so like
Yeah,
I just got
Jagannath.
that habit. Whenever I see Jagannath Mahaprasad, I offer obeisances to it, because I'd see everybody else do that, and I've never seen anybody do that before, but I've seen it with Jagannath Mahaprasad like that. What were you about to say?
I kind of forgot, but I was reminded of some of Srila Prabhupada, but our Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and some devotees. Prabhupada asked, come and give, there were two guests, there were two Indian guests, like, go get some prasadam. And Prabhupada gave them the prasadam, and the two Indian guests, they put the prasadam first to their head, and then they took it. And Prabhupada glanced over to his Western disciples, like, see how much reverence they have for prasadam?
Wow. Yeah. Oh God, this is really good for me to be talking about this because I'm like really bad with prasad. Like I usually look at my phone when I'm taking prasad. Like just like that's like my time when I just kind of and not devotional things either. Yeah. So this is a good instruction for me.
I remember what else? Oh man, what was I gonna? Oh yeah, I will remember. I told the devotee that prasadam is always pure, and he joked with me saying, "Milk touched by the lips of a serpent causes poisonous effect."
So
I know, right? He's like,
whatever.
yeah, yeah. Think about it. It's like fire, or like it's like Krishna's prasad fire. When you comes, like, of course, it's going to purify you, but it can also kill you.
Yes. I mean, it's like that with, I mean, that verse is used in relation to Ādi-khaṇḍa all the time, right? That's when it's that verse is mostly used. It's right.
Yeah.
What is it? A Vaishnava Mukod Girnam Harikatamritam, right? Something like that.
I don't know the verse.
We learned that in Gurukul, I think. Yeah. But yeah. So we should never listen, even though Ādi-khaṇḍa is pure, the words of Śrīmad-bhāgavatam are pure. But if it's a not good person reading it, then it becomes like poison, even though it's a pure thing. But.
Yeah, I remember being in Mayapur, and my Guru Maharaj was talking about prasadam, and he was saying that some devotees, that when they take Mahaprasad, they don't speak. And then Guru Maharaj said, but Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata did not authorize this. That if Harikatha comes up, if Krishna Katha comes up while you're taking prasad, you should speak about Krishna.
Yeah, that's where is it? Does Param Gurudev say this? That that Harikatha is considered being silent, like speaking Harikatha, like it's in relation to monovrat, right?
Like, the true monovrat of silence is to only speak about Hari and do Hari Kirtan.
Yes. Is that in the Upadeshavali or something? I can't remember.
Yeah. I can look up the Upadeshavali right now. I can look up. Hold on, let me look for the Upadeshavali.
It's in the back of the songbook.
Upadeshavali by Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj. To speak Harikatha always and everywhere, or to be absorbed in speaking about services related to Shri Hari is real silence.
Yes. Beautiful. All right, I'm gonna go take a nap right now. I only slept a couple hours last night.
Yeah, go ahead.
So but yeah, it was a fun discussion, and it was good for me to hear that also today about prasad. I need to become more serious with that.
I remember. Yeah, I should also do the same. I wrote one more thing about Charnamrita. I remember that sannyasi said that after you take Charnamrita, you put it on your head. And one devotee asked him, like, isn't the hair considered stool? He's like, what do you mean the hair is considered stool? He's like, yeah, Srila Prabhupada would say that. And it's like, and he said, where has Prabhupada ever said that? And like, yeah, like I read it somewhere, like, no, you have to listen to the audio.
Yeah, and also it's like, I think when it's connected to the body, it's not as like, it's when it's disconnected from the body that it becomes really contaminated. Isn't it? Like you could touch somebody's hand and you touch their nails and it doesn't feel gross, but then when they cut the nails and then you touch them, you don't want to touch
Right. And then he said, like, no. Prabhupada knows the Charnamrita mantra. And it's in the Charnamrita mantra, it says to put it on your head.
Yes. How does it? I used to know it. Dharamyaham. That's the last two words. Shira Dharamyaham. It's like keep it on top of the head. That something like that.
It's in the Archanadipika.
Yeah, they in the mat they have a little like in Rup Sanatan Gaudiya mat they have that verse there next to the Charnamrita, and it said before you take the Charnamrita please say this mantra, like that.
Oh, seriously, they have it there.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Jai Shri
I need to
Ādi.
go too. Jai Shri Ādi.
Haribol, Kishore Prabhu, Champak Didi, and let's see who else is left there. Indira Mataji, Prajuna Prabhu, Karuna Didi, all of you. Dandavat Pranams. See you all tomorrow to read about the disappearance of Jagannath Mishra. Right. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna. Gaur Haribol.
Gaur.